from now on in, people should keep up their pressure on their federal members of parliament. Before I came down tonight, I spoke to Laurie Ferguson, the federal member for Werriwa, in regards to what was happening in Syria and the actions they were taking there. You should contact your local federal member of parliament and ask him to raise in the parliamentary caucus in Canberra exactly what they were doing, because at the end of the day, the caucus at the parliament makes the decision, and the federal members of parliament need to go down there and ask those questions. There is a huge divide between what happened in Libya and what is happening in Syria in regards to the actions of the overseas community. If you look at the NATO action into Libya, you have to ask the question, why isn't that being replicated in Syria? These are large questions that you should ask your federal member of parliament, but there is a way forward, and you should continue to put pressure on them, because at the end of the day, they sit at the table that makes the decision.
What has happened so far has not been enough, and that's very clear. I think your question is extremely well founded. There have been sanctions, but the way to solve this, the people of Syria are not going away. They're not going to sit down. They're continuing to fight. That puts an obligation on all world governments to join with them and to ramp the pressure up. And there's a lot more that can be done. There are still investments happening in Syrian oil, for example. That has to come to an end. I think Lynda's right about the issue of food. Food sanctions become tricky, but everything other than food and direct humanitarian aid, I think we need to keep putting the pressure on. Isolating the regime is important. International experience shows us that where you have an internal uprising and the regime itself is isolated, it cannot survive. What this regime is currently living off is a few connections it still has to the international community. It is time for Australia, it is time for all countries to stand up and say, that's it, we are severing, we are isolating you, we are cutting you a deal.
Look, can I just say, don't lose heart. These things don't happen overnight. I mean, the sanctions and the condemnation of Assad and what's happening there, that is escalating. You know, that is escalating. You need, as has been pointed out, you need to contact a member of parliament. You just need to keep the pressure up. This is a worldwide pressure. As each day goes by, as each week goes by, more and more nations are queuing up and finally taking a stand. There are those people who try to, even Ahmadinejad is pretending to have a separation between himself and Assad. But you know, that Assad has been, you know, the Assad family have been running Syria like a family business for decades, but keep up the pressure, don't lose heart, because that day is coming. You know, nothing can stop the onward march of democracy. I have a faith that that will happen in Syria as well.